Fellow Romans, I realize I committed committed. I'm sorry. I just got so angry with the last episode with all those plebs and barbarians. I mean, those people, they get me so angry, and I have a feeling we're going to run into somebody who I really despise. Cato! I'm sorry. Whew. It's okay. I got it out of my system. Got to be mature. I got to be collective. After all, we are setting a high standard, and many of you keep on knocking at the door. We want more Rome. Well, I hear you, everyone. This is not how true Romans behave. You enjoy it like a nice meal with a little bit of salt from Carthage, and it'll come to you. So we are going to find out about this wonderful person who was reading at his aunt's funeral. Someone who is divine and glorious. And I think we're all going to enjoy it. So, my outstanding people, let me just apologize. I got a nice little glass of red wine for Rome. Yes. It'll calm me down a little bit, because I have a feeling we're going to run into this Cato. Ugh, I'm offended. Anyways, enough talking. Let's enjoy Unbiased History, the true history of Rome by Dovahhatty. Of course. Now listen, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the ring bell notification. Also be sure to support the original content creator, as a true Roman should. I expect that out of my audience. This should be at 1 million views. This video alone should be at 1 million views, and the original video should be at 10 million views. If you're a true Roman, because we could still save Rome, and we could still save the chosen one. It is still possible, I believe. Don't give me that BS that, oh, history's locked, or these videos are many years old. You can't alter history. Watch me try. Until then, let's play this video in a 3, a 2, a 1.
No friend ever served me, no enemy ever wronged me, whom I have now repaid in full. Such were the immortal words of the great Sulla, well, before he died of boy pussy overload. But his death does lead us into a new era of Roman history, that of the late Republic. These were the times of giants, my dearest pleb, well and truly overdone by better history channels. And due to the sheer amount of important events all happening simultaneously, we'll have to cover the main wars of the period, yes, but at the same time introduce the 3 great men who would define the age.
Yes.
So first, we begin with an ironic state of affairs. As you remember, due to Sulla's rightful purge of the Popularis faction, almost all of them died, but those who did survive were among the few great men in it, such as Sertorius, whose fame as a brilliant general attracted the attention of the rebelling Lusitanian tribes, whom Sertorius used to lead the Popularis revolt and take over all of Hispania. As always, the Senate's first reaction was to send a Metellus to fix things, dooming him to an unending guerrilla war, just in time for yet another Mithridatic war to trigger. So okay, what is guiding Mithridates' bloodlust this time, you ask? Well, the king of Bithynia, having no heirs, he willed his kingdom to Rome after his death, which Mithridates, absolutely seething, refused to accept, invading the province, restarting the
Lousy barbarian. I'd say this is what happens when you trust barbarians.
conflict and laying siege to Cyzicus. Sent to stop him was the consul of the year, Lucullus, whom would stand by and watch as Jupiter destroyed Mithridates' siege weapons in a storm. Then he fucking threw a meteor at some point. Yeah, true story. Lucullus later took this chance to cut off his supply lines, forcing him to flee east, and pursuing him all the way back to Pontus.
Get him!
In Hispania, Sertorius' guerrilla war continued to drag on. To help Metellus, the Senate sent Gnaeus Pompeius to Hispania, our first soon-to-be triumvir. Born to a rural patrician family and an optimate's father, Pompey started out his adult life after his father was mortally struck by lightning. If you're worried about the frequency of Romans dying to lightning strikes, just you wait until that happens to an emperor. Back to Pompey, he was able to dodge false accusations of theft while on trial. So elegantly, in fact, that the judge was like, "Whoa, you're awesome. Here, please fuck my daughter." Which he
Great. See, now that's what you call justice.
did. Later on, during Sulla's march to Rome, he raised his father's veteran legions to help him. Thankful, Sulla had him divorced and marry his pregnant stepdaughter, whom died in childbirth, so whatever. Later marrying Mucia, having 3 kids with her. I'm boring you with this because they will be relevant later on. Well, the 2 boys at least, so feel free to forget her. Okay, as Sulla's supporter, Pompey gained fame.
Let's just forget her anyways. Doesn't matter. I mean, she's not important.
Crushing several Popularis revolts in the Mediterranean, including one done by Brutus. No, his father. A relevant detail for later. In his return, Pompey would be named Magnus by Sulla, somewhat ironically, then letting him have a triumph, despite being far too young and using elephants instead of horses, also somewhat ironically. It was this Pompey that landed on Hispania. Admittedly, he was trashed on once he got there. He was facing Sertorius after all, but Metellus came to his rescue, and thanks to Sertorius' barbarian army idiotic decision to attack them head-on, they were defeated, forcing Sertorius to retreat, later on being betrayed by one of his fellow Popularis revolutionaries, whom seized his command position. What a shitty faction. Meanwhile, back in Capua, a lone Thracian slave toiled away in a gladiatorial school, being taught how to entertain his Roman masters and add some significance to his miserable existence. But this Thracian hated Rome, and oh how much he did. Such was his rage that he led a revolt with his fellow slaves, stealing
Stupid Spartacus wanting freedom.
Kitchen knives, killing the guards, and breaking out, proceeding to steal gladiatorial weapons and rampage through southern Italy. Being stuck between 2 massive wars in opposite fronts, Rome could only afford sending 2 waves of plebs to face them, whom were all killed, predictably enough. By then, Spartacus had made Mount Vesuvius his base, and I swear, the moment the god Vulcanus finds out that a band of filthy slaves has occupied his home, he's gonna go mad, mark my fucking words. Given the size of the slave revolt, a senator named Marcus Licinius Crassus offered to help.
Alright, Crassus.
Soon to be Triumvirate. And the bane of communists worldwide, being a man who actually earned his fortune.
That's right. That cash money. Crassus, I trust you, man.
I know, imagine that. Born to your standard patrician family, Crassus had his family's wealth seized by Cinna's dictatorship, being forced to flee to Hispania to avoid the Red Terror. Later joining up forces with Sulla in his march to Rome, assisting him while fighting Carbo. And after Sulla made his proscriptions, Crassus would have his revenge, buying up a lot of the confiscated Popularis property for dirt cheap. With this newfound wealth, he would buy not 1, not 2, but 500 slaves, whom he used to form the world's first firefighting force.
That's right, there you go. See? You see, this is what happens when you believe in the Roman Republic. If you're a Roman, you're in the Republic, stop your bitching and enjoy your slice of pizza. Simple as that. You're a Roman. Enjoy it.
So here's the story. Once a fire broke out, usually at some careless pleb's house, he would wait as it burned before the pleb agreed to sell it for cheap. Then the slaves put off the fire, rebuilt it, and now he had another place to rent as landlord. By the end of this, Crassus would amass a wealth of over 7,000 talents.
Glorious.
$10 billion in today's money. But despite such success, Crassus yearned for military glory, bringing us back to Spartacus. Once given command of the war, Crassus fielded several legions out of his own pocket, most of them plebs, taking it upon himself to discipline them by reviving the old practice of decimation.
Yes.
One randomly picked pleb was beaten to death by the other 9.
There you go.
Meanwhile, the slaves had reached the Alps, but instead of getting their supposedly desired freedom, they showed their true colors, choosing to go back and continue to ransack Italy, like the barbarians they were. After a long march south, Crassus...
See, again, I've been noticing in the comments section below, people say, oh, well, it was Hannibal, you know, he could be turned into a decent person. No, you can't help barbarians. Barbarians cannot be helped.
Of a Gallic splinter group, destroying their forces and continually pushing Spartacus further south. Desperate, Spartacus struck a deal with Sicilian pirates to ferry his forces to Sicily, where he...
Why, my fellow Sicilians? Why would you help him? Why?
Continue to ransack the place. But they just took the payment and fucked off. And to make things worse for him, Pompey had just returned from Hispania, having ambushed and killed Perpenna, and now helping to encircle Spartacus. Crassus would then crush the slave armies in battle, while Pompey mopped up those who fled. And just to make his point clear, Crassus had all 6,000 survivors crucified along the Appian Way, being left to suffer a fraction of the pain they inflicted upon the civilized world. From this point on, every time a slave passed by the area, the living image of Crassus would haunt them and remind them of their miserable, barbarian, servile existence.
Exactly. Don't give me, I'm Spartacus. Well, y'all got crucified. So I don't care. I don't care what happened to Spartacus. I don't care. I don't care what happened to Spartacus. I don't care, 'cause it was a good time. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what happened to Spartacus. I don't care what happened to Spartacus. I don't care. I don't care. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't care what happened to Spartacus. I'm sorry. I'm having a little bit of a shining moment. Anyways. Ooh. Come on. Come on, Kit. You have to be better.
So that's two triumvirs, with one more to go. His origins stretch back to the legendary hero Aeneas himself, whom fathered Iolaus, the progenitor of the gens Julia, one of the Alban patrician families Hostilius would bring into Rome. Forgotten to most was that the gens Julia had made a pact. Instead of being like the other clans and occasionally generating outstanding individuals from time to time, the Julia sought to reserve their uniquely divine power until it was most needed.
Yes.
Centuries passed, with the gens Julii embracing a stoic life away from glory, forgotten to most. And now, with the Republic nearing collapse and Rome being surrounded by enemies, it finally happened. The birth of a kind of prodigy that happens only once every era. A man of unparalleled power, intellect, and ambition. The greatest Roman to have ever lived. His name was Gaius Julius Caesar. And that's how you pronounce it. But I'll call him Gaius Julius Caesar anyway.
No.
Saves me the trouble. Born to a humble patrician family, Caesar would spend his early life instigating both awe and fear in those who met him. At his coming of age, after his father's death and Sulla's civil war, Caesar quickly realized the cold truth everyone denied. The Republic had been founded in good spirit for virtuous patricians alone, an impossibility with the influx of plebs into the Senate, and the unending barbarian threats that so forced Rome to bend its rules. Caesar
Yes, a house infected cannot stand.
pondered heavily on the plebeian question, and while genocide was a quick solution, his pure patrician blood revolted him towards such violent ends. And so, there remained only one solution: to bring the plebs under the leash, and to achieve that, he had to join the Popularis faction.
Oh boy.
His immense disgust, and all under Cinna's takeover no less, whom would make Caesar the high priest of Jupiter, and marry him to his daughter. Both events that Sulla would unmake once he took over. In truth, Sulla could see the latent power inside Caesar, and fearing the rise of an even stronger Marius, he had him banished from Rome.
No! Don't you understand? Don't you understand that he's a Giga Chad Alpha Sigma Supreme? Oh, Sulla, you're making such a terrible mistake. Don't you see? Can't you see?
Despite this, Caesar persisted in his quest, joining the military in his late father's province of Asia, where he would help crush some Sicilian pirates in Lesbos along
Shame, Sicilian pirates. Shame on you.
with Lucullus, well enough to gain a civic crown for it. An impressive feat, which Sulla, holder of the grass crown himself, and after much bitching from Caesar's mother, allowed Caesar to return Rome. There he would become a famous orator, swooning the ladies with his divine beauty.
That's right. Those ladies' panties became moist towelettes. All of them. All of them became moist towelettes.
And inspiring the man with his
That's right. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I didn't have to know it. But sooner or later, what are we at? 8 minutes in? 8 minutes in the video. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls. You hip cool cats. I present to you Cato the Younger. I despise that man. I hate him with every fiber in my body. Cato, good to see you again, friend. Good to see you again, Cato. Still look like a douchebag as always.
Alpha male vigor. Such was his success that he set sail to teach the Greeks in Rhodes how to be good orators, which was when his ship was attacked by Sicilian pirates. Yes, them again. Initially, they wanted 20 talents for his ransom, but after seeing a fraction of Caesar's power level, they immediately raised it to 5,000, but he told him to keep it at 50, being modest and all. casually reminding them that he would have them all crucified. They were laughing at him when he said that, but they sure weren't as he was nailing them to the cross. The next time we cover a divine individual and a cross will be a while from now. Until then, let's return to our unfinished business in the east. For Mithridates was still alive, annoyingly enough. Lucullus had done his best to pursue him deep into Armenian lands, having defeated his allied king Tigranes in battle along the way. But Mithridates decided to abandon his ally, retaking his Pontic kingdom through Lucullus's back. It was around this time that Pompey was finally sent to rain order down the pirate haven of Sicilia, on his way meeting with Lucullus, whom he had decided to demote and take his command position. Mithridates barely had time to
sorry about that, fellow Roman.
relax before Pompey stormed his forces, pushing him way back north, where he would kill his own traitorous son. Instead of pursuing him, Pompey saw the decadent, unstable state that the East was in, running a series of campaigns to civilize the region, and installing several puppet states. Among the
Hold on.
series of campaigns to civilize the region, and installing several
Pink equals client state allies, whatever the F. Rome's bitch slaves. That's what.
puppet states. Among the chaotic eastern kingdoms was that of the Hasmonean Jewish kingdom. And yeah, we finally got to the Jews. They'll be a huge nuisance for Rome as we go on, up until the future Emperor Hadrian comes along, whom hated Jews so much it's hard to believe. But then the Christians were already around, so yeah. In this case, the Jewish king Hyrcanus had been Jewed out of his Jewish throne by his Jewish brother Aristobulus II. They both came to Pompey to mediate their dispute. He told them to chill for a while he visited Petra, but Aristobulus was impatient, returning to Judea to claim his kingdom. This infuriated Pompey, marching his troops down to Jerusalem, where Aristobulus eventually fled to. The Jewish civilians loyal to Hyrcanus was smart enough to let Pompey's troops in, but the priests refused to yield, barricading themselves on the Temple Mount. It was well fortified, but then came the day of the Sabbath, during which, as it happens, Jews are forbidden to meddle with the enemy unless being directly attacked, a fact Pompey exploited to deploy his battering ram. And the Jews, just let him do it. Sure enough, he broke through it the next day and slaughtered some 12,000 Jews, making Judea...
I am going to keep quiet here. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to... I can't wait till we start curb stomping Cato.
And its neighbors, all client states of Rome. Let's just paint it all red. Much better.
Much better indeed. Yes, perfect. And that's the last time there'll ever be trouble in that area ever again. I got a pain in my stomach. Future events. Flooding my brain. Anyways.
You've got to respect the Jews though. No matter how many times they get slaughtered, they never give up on their Jewish ways. A lesson the future Emperor Hadrian would vehemently refuse to learn. God, he really hated Jews. And of course, I couldn't end without telling you that Mithridates had another one of his sons betray him. Tired of it all, he tried to poison himself. But, being so possessed by evil, being Greek and all, it had no effect on him. So he just had his bodyguard stab him to death. A violent end for a violent Greek. But I'm afraid the fun has just begun.
Take that, barbarian.
For the next time, we will focus solely on the legendary life of Caesar, his consulship, the Gallic Wars, his righteous civil wars, and traitorous assassination. I hope to see you then, plebs. Ciao ciao.
Ciao ciao indeed. All right, folks. Let's be very clear here. To be a true Roman, you must enjoy Rome. Now, the thing is, a lot of you have been demanding it. So listen, if you're patient and you behave yourselves, you will get more Roman videos. Okay? And I'm just going to say this right here, right now. Maybe, I don't know. Not only should Dovahhatty be at, you guessed it, 1 million subscribers, but his original video should be at 10 million views. And maybe give us 1 million views, we'll just kindly ask that out of the true Romans. That's if you believe in Rome. That's if you believe in truth and justice and a true unbiased history. So make it happen, you beautiful people. Not for myself. Not for Dova. Not for you. But for Rome. Think about what the chosen one would say to you. And no, I'm not talking about of modern-day religion. I'm talking about the hero who saved the world and reunited it in 5 years. my biggest shame in my life is that I was born too late to save him. We were all born too late to save him. Be a true Roman and spread the word of Rome. As you should. As all of you should. Peace and ciao ciao, my fellow Romans.